welcome to the last episode of Our Love Journey, the podcast 2021.
2021, and just like in very like Bumi and Brendan fashion, we're shooting this literally at the deadline.
Like at the edge. But I mean, you're probably going to hear some kids screaming, crying, playing around. We are on full holiday mode. The kids are running around. So yeah, it's just one of those vibes where we had to literally steal like 30 minutes.
Yeah, so it's, guys, it's actually quite, it's emotional.
Why?
Because I feel like, I don't know, I'm feeling emotional. Because I feel like our love journey became more than what we anticipated when we started this year.
Yeah.
When we came back with season 3, which is weird because I don't even remember what season 2 was about or season 1.
When did we stop doing the video? Well, not the video, but sit down with couples.
I don't know. But I know.
Oh, before last year. Yeah.
Because, I mean, we've lived in 3 different houses since we've started our love journey. So that's why I'm a little bit emotional because, I feel like this year was really, really, it felt like really meaningful.
Yeah.
And it was so exciting.
And growth.
Yeah, and we got excited. Like I get excited to come and do these conversations, these podcasts, because I learn a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a space. Why am I getting so deep?
You're getting so emo. You're getting so emo. But yeah, I think it's quite amazing. And how much the community has grown this year. I think when we started, specifically my channel, it was predominantly women, and now it's a lot of men as well. We meet up with people at malls, and husbands will be like, "Yeah, we watch you guys."
It's actually
even
insane.
Young guys, young men. It's
sometimes
amazing.
I'm at like gigs or shows and like literally guys vibes.
Yeah, people are just like, yo, I love Journey.
Yo, man, I watch the stuff with I watch the stuff with my wife, man. You know, like, yo, this is not how I always am. But like it's the
this is not how I always am.
It's always the
beautiful.
best.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I appreciate it. It's real.
Yeah, and anyway, we promised this last episode, and you guys know one thing we will do. We will fulfill a promise, even if it means we do it while the house behind us is burning.
Yeah, well, the kids are literally
the kids are falling apart.
Down.
Yeah. And today's final episode is sponsored by MedShield. You guys know that we are part of the MedShield family, and they have so many incredible offers, 8 different covers, in fact. So if you're out looking for medical aid, whether you're single, with a family member, kids, there's a cover option for you, and it's really structured for your budget. Yeah. I've literally convinced all my friends. My friends have moved over to MedShield, which is absolutely amazing. So
and they're happy.
Very happy. We're happy. And thank you to MedShield for sponsoring our podcast. They've really helped us this year to continue the work, and you know what, to keep the work organic as well.
Yeah, no, like Mpumi said, whoever you are, whatever you do, they have a cover that can work for you.
Awesome. Let us get into today's podcast. I needed to come up with a name,
for
the name
podcast.
Of the podcast, because we're kind of dealing with 2 different topics. So I just kind of said the fast and the vision.
Fast and the vision.
The fast and the vision.
Oh, like the Fast and the Furious.
Fast and the Furious.
The Fast
I'm
and
so
the
creative, yeah.
Yeah, yes, I'm ashamed.
So I think we touched on it in our previous episode, and I've been touching a little bit on my Instagram as well, but and people have been interested and really eager to learn more about fasting and vision. I know a lot of churches go into a time of fasting in the month of January, others fast throughout the month, but we specifically as a family do the Daniel fast in the month of January.
Yeah, the Daniel fast is epic. If you guys don't know what that's about, so it's basically just kind of based on Daniel from the Bible, and he did this fast where he was just eating like whole foods, plant-based. It's basically
raw foods in
raw
his
food,
in his sense,
and it's like plant-based but like natural. So raw carrots, not raw spinach, but just like try and keep the stuff as natural as possible, not overcooking stuff, not putting spices like one of us likes to do, but yeah, it's such a beautiful way to start the year, because one, not only do you detox physically, but you detox mentally.
Yeah, I kind of wrote here why we fast, and I wanted to read it so people can get a better understanding, so that we don't just go into it thinking it's just a diet, a way to lose weight, or it's just another thing that the church does. I really want to get to a point when we do things, we do them with our own meaning, our own conviction, as opposed to just joining because it's a corporate thing.
Good, yeah,
right?
Very good.
So I just wrote here, why do we fast? We fast so that we may hunger and thirst for spiritual food more than physical food by having restrictions. And the Daniel fast is based on Daniel 10. I would advise you to study the whole book of Daniel so you can get a better understanding. Yeah. Specifically, in Daniel 10 verse 2 to 3, it says, in those days, I, Daniel, had been mourning for 3 entire weeks. I ate no tasty food, nor did any meat or wine enter my mouth. And I did not anoint, which is refresh or groom myself at all for the full 3 weeks. So this is to give context as to why people choose specifically 21 days with the Daniel fast. It's because when Daniel went on this fast, as he called it a time of mourning, he was in distress, a lot was happening, and he basically needed answers from God. So he said, I am going to go in mourning and in a time of fasting until I basically hear from God. And so basically for 3 weeks, which is 21 days, he went into a time where he basically ate fruits, vegetables, natural food, and he didn't indulge. The whole idea is that I'm not going to satisfy my flesh. So it's not so much about saying, okay, can I eat spinach because did Daniel eat? But it's about sacrifice your taste buds, your desires to seek God. And what happened was, after the 21 days or the 3 weeks, the angel, I believe Gabriel, I could be wrong, came and said, hey, Daniel, I have an answer from you from the Lord. And he specifically said, this answer, God answered you from day one that you prayed. Yeah. For 3 weeks, I had been fighting to get this answer to you, right? And in spiritual terms, we know that sometimes we trust for answers, but it's not that God is not answering. It's just that there's a whole lot happening in the spiritual realm, and that's why we need to stay in trust, we need to stay in faith, and we need to deprive ourselves so we could hear. And what I got from studying the book of Daniel is that after his fast, more than anything, what he gained was wisdom. And what he gained was insight as to what happens next. Clarity. Which brings me to what we wanted to discuss. We were just discussing the other day that we've made fasting about, I'm fasting for a car, I'm fasting for this, I'm fasting for this. But I think it's not so much about that. But I think fasting is about letting go of self.
Yeah, I think
depriving self.
More than anything, I think it's like that. It's a more of a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual battle. Like when you fast and pray, I think what you really gain more than material things. I think, like I said, material things will then be a byproduct of fasting. But really what you gain is that like spiritual clarity. Yeah. Understanding more your purpose, being more aligned with the goals that God has for your life, and that's really, I think, what is the core of what's at the core of fasting. So I think that's what every year that's what we look to achieve. That is why a lot of times we'll go away into a quiet place so that we can really not just not just deprive your body. When you're in an environment that's not conducive to that, or isn't like an incubator for that, then you start to lose the whole point.
So you're not eating the stuff, but you're watching everything else. You're not studying. You're not praying.
And your whole like demeanor is wrong.
Incorrect. Yeah.
Yeah, because you like
your heart posture.
Yeah, your posture is wrong because you're not like excited about it. You actually like you dread it. You're not enjoying it. You're thinking about how hungry you are. Yeah. And it shouldn't feel like that. It should feel like you're doing this for yourself. Should feel like you are on a journey, and sometimes just going into an area, a space where you aren't like surrounded by all these distractions can really allow you to tap into that feeling of getting closer to God and hearing from God, because it's silence really, you know, because there's so much noise just in our lives,
in our world. I actually wrote here a new way of fasting. It's not about getting but becoming. It's not so much about the diet and food, but the heart of sacrifice, disconnecting for the sake of connecting to God. And that's what it is. To personalize this, we go on a fast every year, and in the beginning of the year we basically go off social. We basically kind of get rid of our phones. We go away somewhere where it's silent. And for the most part, I always say every great idea or every great thing that's happened in my life has come from that place. Yeah. Because in that place of solitude, of seeking God, not so much seeking things. The things, like Brendan says, are a byproduct of obeying what God has spoken. But how do we hear what God is saying if we are watching? Nothing wrong with these things, watching series all day, on our phones all day, indulging all day. When do we hear? So there's a time for everything. Ecclesiastes speaks about this. There's a time to celebrate. There's a time to mourn. There's a time to this. And so it's been December. We've been merry. We've done all the stuff. Now we all need to set apart time and say, okay, God, direct us. Someone actually reminded me of something I posted last year, is that we get so excited by words we hear. It's what was 2020 supposed to be? I forgot, but there's all these things. 20-something was supposed to become something, and we just jump and we get excited. And I've been a product of that. And then you get into there and you're just like, that's not happening. So it's so important, as much as we hear what the body of Christ is saying, but to also go down and say, God, what are you doing in my life this year? Yeah. Personally, for me, what are you trying to do? What do you need me to do? How can I serve? How can I help? Can I hear you, Lord? Direct my step. And this is how we go into vision. What is your vision for my life? And then when we hear those things and we obey, then the nice things come along. Because God does not deprive. God wants us to have life, and life in abundance.
You're walking in that truth.
Yes.
And so you are bringing, almost like you're attracting that. Yeah. Because now you are living in who you truly should be.
Absolutely. I want us to get into foods. Should we first go into vision, or should we get into the rules of the Daniel first?
I think let's start with the vision.
Let's go into the vision. So, Pastor Mike Todd has been speaking about this throughout his latest Crazy Year Faith series. He's spoken a lot about vision. I mean, I found myself so convicted that I've had to go back and say, okay, God, let's have a man-to-man. What do you need from me? But I just wanted to read Proverbs 29 verse 18, because as soon as you mentioned vision board, people get a little confused. So just to clarify, and I think this is the Message version, and it says, if people can't see what God is doing, they stumble all over themselves. But when they attend to what he reveals, they are most blessed. The popular version is, where there is no vision, the people perish. The reason why we started with the fasting aspect is that that's where we get to know what God is doing.
Yeah.
Right? So vision is not, we don't just sit and say, what am I getting? What do I feel like? It's okay, let us hear. It's
not a wish list. We said this a lot. Yeah, we said this last year as well.
Yeah.
But we'll repeat it. It's not a wish list.
Yeah.
It's something like, it's understanding what you need. Understanding what your desires are.
Yeah.
And so it's not really just about sitting down and writing what I'd like to get for Christmas. It's about what can better my life.
Yeah.
What growth do I need in my life?
Yeah.
What goals do I need to hit?
Yeah.
Where do I need to be?
Yeah. Who am I serving?
Who am I serving?
How am I serving?
So it's all these things they really kind of define who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And look, there's some pleasant stuff in there. We always
we believe in the pleasant stuff,
like,
guys.
I'll throw in a car in there. I'll throw in a new laptop. Like I'm like that. Like I'll be like, new camera, But like it's not about those things. I will start with the core things that are important, and then I'll work my way to the things that make my life more efficient, my life more pleasant, makes me a better person, allows me to live in my purpose better. One thing about God, he's not going to let you live in your purpose in hupego. No. Like, God's going to take care of you. Like, even when the Israelites were moving from Egypt, like there was manna, right? Yeah. And so a lot of people will be like, but they got tired of the manna. But Oksalayo, every single day, there was provision for that day. Yeah. So that's how God works. He gives you bread for today. Yeah. And it's up to you to...
It's your perspective. How do you see that?
How do you look at it? How do you look at today's bread? Is it enough for you? Or when funama croissants,
funagwa next door.
Or funagwa, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's kind of like understanding that, and understanding where you are in your journey, and knowing that it is a journey. Yeah. That allows you to kind of set up your vision board in a way that, one, is true to who you should be. And also that's so important, because sometimes, again, Pastor Mike Todd always says this: God cannot bless who you pretend to be. So if you're living outside of who you are, just because this is something you've developed this personality. Will Smith says we all build these characters, right? Even in real life, the way I talk to you isn't the way I talk to Nuri. It's like we all build these facades. So if you've gotten so deep into that facade,
into this pretense,
so it's like your vision for your life is maybe not even your real life, because it's not even your real self that you're presenting. So that's why fasting is so good, because you get to find out who are you, who am I, God, like who is, and that's why even last year, like that's where I got the ideas of what I wanted to do with my music, how I wanted free to worship, all these things, because I went into this place and I'm like, God, okay, I understand I have this gift and I have this talent and I can do all these things, but who am I? And what is my purpose? Like, where do I fit in this whole thing? In this whole thing. And the only way you can find that is through quality time with God, is through like opening yourself up and having like I believe in silence, guys. Like I believe in silence, and I believe in just like the world is so loud. And if you always around people and you're always around things and you're always watching stuff, like Mpumi says, you're always listening to this or you're playing this, like you can never have silence.
You stop, because I believe Holy Spirit lives in us, but you stop hearing, because Holy Spirit doesn't stop talking, but you stop hearing because you're listening to everything else.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And for me, that's big. Even when I drive, I don't like music.
Brendan does the whole silence thing.
I love silence. I value it so much, because I feel like when I say something, it's at least informed from my own thoughts rather than from a lot of distractions of this is what I was listening to all the way here. And when I'm listening to something, it has to be good. It has to be empowering me. But like everything that I do that is for myself, like running, I run in silence. Just because you need to be comfortable with yourself, with your own thinking. To give the dictionary meaning of a vision board, it's basically a collage of images or words representing a person's goals intended to serve as motivation. So that's all a vision board is. You can do it differently. So just to be practical, a lot of people ask me, how do we do a vision board? For example, how I did ours, we have our personal visions, but we also have a joint one. So how I did our joint one, we basically sat together. I think it was after or during our fast, and we were jotting things down. And I go on Pinterest and I create pins, different pins. So I'll have our family pin. Under our family pin, I'll have our physical, different things that matter to us. Basically, what do we see for our family for the year? What are we working towards? One of the things was our house. And I've mentioned this, that our house that we live in looks exactly like the one on my Pinterest board. And it's not to say it will always be like that, but I'm just saying, just God delights in the details of our lives if we trust him. So a whole lot of things, our physical health, there's some things that we didn't tick off, that we didn't achieve, but we continue to work towards them. At least we know what we are working towards. Because if it's not written down, what are you working towards? You're just going by. And then I have my personal one. So I have my personal one, which is also on Pinterest, where I divide. I'll mention the different divisions. And then I have my journal, where I write things down. I work better with journal, because I feel like when I hear thoughts in my head or God's word, I write it down and I always keep it there. And it continues to change, but there's the main one for the year, and then during the year I just change. How does your system work? Yeah, it's pretty similar. It's I think the main one, we talk about it and we decide where do we want to see our family, where do we see our marriage, our kids, all these things. What would we like to achieve as a family, as a couple, and so forth. And then obviously there's a subcategory for me that's personal. Again, and like you said, like for me, I've never ever had goals that were not achieved. But again, it becomes a perspective thing. You got to look at it how, like for instance, like you said, I know that we had physical goals that maybe we didn't achieve, but it's not that we didn't achieve them. If you look at it like we made the steps we created the environment for that.
True.
And sometimes achieving a goal might not look the way you think it's going to look.
That's so bomb.
Yeah. So for us, yes, we wanted 6 packs, but we ended up setting up a gym.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, okay, we've set up sort of the framework to make this dream come true.
But even a better perspective, I mean, we had wanted to go vegan and stuff, and then we actually journeyed on that. We actually took the step for about a good 3 months, and then there was physical illness, which led us to dietitians and stuff, and only to find out what our bodies actually need. Now I know, I did some blood tests, so now I know what my body needs. I know what I have to eat, and you know when it's completely different. So speaking of perspective, we just wanted the physical aspect of it, but we got more than that. Now we've got the wisdom and the knowledge, and now it's more of a journey than this hit the goal. But in the process, it's been learning. And even personally for me, the goal has changed from I want to look like this to
You
this
don't
is
want
how
the Megan Good body anymore.
I do still want it. I just don't want it.
Okay, just making sure because I had plans for it.
But in fact, I've learned to appreciate my body for carrying me, because I know what it feels like for my body to just say no, you know, to just, and it's the first time in my life. So there's a different appreciation for now. There's a different reason why I have physical activities or physical goals. So I love what you said that. Sometimes, and I even wrote this, sometimes it's not so much about getting the thing or achieving the goal, but it's who you become in the process.
Ooh, girl, that's a tweetable. So yeah, that's what I feel. I mean, even like on my personal side, I had written some stuff. There's a microphone that I wanted to get that John Legend uses, but instead I got a studio.
Yeah.
And so you can look at it and be like, oh man, I still don't have John Legend's microphone.
Yeah.
Or you can say, I've got an environment where I could create music like him,
like
right?
John.
And this stuff I didn't even pray for.
Yeah.
So sometimes God one-ups you on your, because he says, okay, I know this is what you think you want,
but
let me give you what you really want. So you have to be open-minded when you do a vision board.
Yeah.
And not open-minded in that like you just like you're not expecting it to happen.
Yeah.
Just be.
You're okay if it happens and you're okay if it doesn't.
Yes, no, but you see, not even that.
Okay, not that. Sorry.
Not even that.
I'm
like,
sorry.
Like, be expectant.
Yes.
Because you need to be aware.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, we dream for stuff and then it's like we're not even aware when it's happening. Like be aware of God moving. So that's why, like, you see, we put the house down for the thingy, but we were actively looking for houses to a point where when one popped up that looked like the one in the vision board, imagine if you're not looking for it, right?
Yeah, sure.
How would
you see it?
How would you see it?
Yeah.
So that's why you gotta be aware.
In all aspects.
Yeah, like your whole senses must be aware, and like whatever it is, like even to a point where you get crazy.
Yeah.
Like I want to live in that crazy world where
faith.
even this crazy faith,
Yeah.
even the smallest things, I'm
Yeah.
just like, God is doing it. God is doing it.
Yeah.
Like I prayed for certain things, and I even told you like there was something that I've always wanted to achieve in my music, and it didn't happen, but it was on the process of happening. And when that happened, I said,
I'm content.
I'm happy because it's not even the thing.
Yeah.
I just always wanted the validation and the affirmation.
It's what Will Smith speaks about in, I think it's in Alchemy chapter 10, where he speaks up. Yeah, when he speaks about, it's when he was in his basement and his song got played. And he was in a time where he didn't believe that it was going to happen, where he was desperate. And sometimes you just need one little confirmation.
That's it.
Just one little confirmation. But I love what you said, man. In all aspects, be expectant, do the work, show up, so that even if it doesn't happen, you know, Wuti, I've done my part. So there's a few aspects that I put down that you can use to divide for your vision. I got this from Dave Ramsey, and I think it's kind of what we've been using for what I personally have been using. So I guess it's a universal principle. Number one, what's the vision for your family like? There has to be a vision for your family, and I know we've been taught that the man must come with the vision, but we beg to differ. We discuss it as a family. If your husband is not the one who says, this is the vision, then you'll be the one, hey, can we talk about what's the vision for our family? Where are we going as a family? What is the goal? What do we believe? What are we hoping for?
Yeah, look, I think at the end of the day, it's a partnership.
Yeah, it's a partnership.
So we kind of need to work together.
Yeah.
And certain people will have strengths in certain departments. And you need to be open to that. You need to be open. If you are good at planning, maybe you are the one for that job to plan, and I think it just makes everything so much easier. It makes everyone feel more comfortable in the roles.
Number 2, your spiritual life. You have to have a vision for your spiritual life. What does that look like? In it, just going back into fasting, setting aside time. If you're starting over, setting aside time, maybe 10 minutes. You don't have to start with an hour. 10 minutes of prayer. Listen to one worship song. Read a verse in the Bible. Watch Free to Worship. How do you plan on growing your spiritual life, getting closer to God, etc.? Number 3, your physical. This is how you want to feel.
This one is tough.
How you want to look.
It's a tough one, this one.
Etc. And then your career goals. What is your vision for your career for the year? There's your financial. Please have a vision for your finances. I've told the story that I once wrote down to God that's the exact amount of money that I want to earn, and he didn't fumble the bag.
Guys, he will do exceedingly.
And then intellectual. This I relate, either you want to study further, books, study in the University of YouTube. There's different ways to look at it. And then the last one is relational. What are your relationship goals look like? I know I wanted to have a group of girlfriends, wrote it down, worked at it, and you know what? We are growing. Won't you do it? So I wanted to quickly go into foods to have during a Daniel fast.
Carrots.
Carrots. All types of fruits, all types of vegetables, nuts and seeds, oils such as avocado, olive oil, peanut, etc. Foods to avoid, to not have: meat, dairy, animal, eggs. Try not even have substitutes for meats. Don't have like plant-based mince. This is not what we're doing right now.
Yeah, like we're not. No.
Yeah, we're not.
Just do the thing.
Just do it right.
Just have avo.
No sweeteners, not even honey. I was once confused about the honey thing, and then I realized it's actually from an animal. Anyway, no breads, baked goods, no refined, no refined or processed foods, and deep fried foods. Example, chips. When we were starting out in fasting, we would have chips and say it's potatoes.
It's not the one.
No alcohol and no soda. And some benefits of fasting: deeper relationship and connection to God. There's wisdom, insight, and understanding over situations over your life, and honestly, even your physical health. Yeah. And then some resources. Please follow, if you follow Wisdom and Wellness, you know that we are reading the book Crazy Faith.
This is my copy.
This is Brendan's copy.
Yes.
In the month of January, we're studying this book. I know Brendan did the devotion as well. There's a
devotion.
Good.
So if you have the YouVersion Bible app, check for Crazy Faith. It's a devotional that you can do. I think it's like 7 days. Yeah. It's not long, but it's not long. It's like short. So it gives you like a nice kind of devotional, and then it gives you scripture, and then that
can help you out if you don't know how to study the Bible.
Yeah, it's quite good.
And then for us, the first 7 days of fasting, we normally go for a juice. We juice. Yes. These we got from Snackwell Foods. You can check them out on Snackwell Foods on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So she's a family friend of ours. She makes these 100% fruit and vegetable. Yeah. It's basically you get 35 juices. And it's written for you, like this one's day 6, item 2.
Yeah, so you just follow the days of it. And like, guys, you can't drink coffee. If you're a coffee lover like me, you have to do it like on its own. Yeah. You don't eat anything, you don't take anything.
Life changing. And you won't get hungry if you do it well. Yeah. So you can order from her. And then also you can Books has a sale. You guys can get the Crazy Faith book right now, actually online. It's about 179 rand. In store, it's 250. And then they've also got sales on journals, etc.
It's a good time.
Yeah, it's a good time. Other than that, we are going offline.
Yeah, man. Oh, man, guys, I just want to say thank you also just to everyone for just supporting what we do. Yeah. For watching. You guys don't have to watch these videos. Honestly, really I'm sure.
Even the ads, Bandla, shame.
Even the ads. And also, we're so grateful because we did that was one of the goals, to have partners on our videos. And this year, you guys have probably noticed we've had a partner for most of our videos. Yeah. And it just helps kind of sikhona ukuhambisa ivangeli.
Yeah, evangeli push.
Yabona siyabonga bazalwane. But like, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching us and listening and engaging in the conversations. You know, some of the stuff is hard to talk about.
Very hard. But you guys made it so
easy for us to be transparent and honest. Yeah. So really, really appreciate you guys. 2022 is going to be better.
Yes. That's Ferdik's word.
That's if you guys check out the Elevation church, if you follow them and you know church online there, you know that better is the word for next year. We have another word as well, so we've got like 2 words.
Yeah, we'll confirm it at the end of the year, like we confirmed last year's word.
Yeah, so last year's word was impact,
and I think the mandate was carried out. I think it came through, man. I'm just really excited. Be expectant, guys. Show up for yourself. Show up for God. Be consistent. Trust. Be expectant. And more than anything, I think just show up for yourself.
Yeah, always. We love you guys.
Happy New Year!
This is our love story. This is our journey.